Hello, I'm Matt, Product Manager for NI InsightCM. In this video, I'd like to demonstrate the alarm configuration options within InsightCM. You can configure an alarm on any sensor, and when this alarm event is generated, you have the option to be notified via email of this alarm event. In order to configure this, we'll go ahead and navigate to our Assets page, which I'm already here, and I've went ahead and selected a sensor, in this case, MIV, our motor inboard vertical, which is an accelerometer, and I've clicked on the Alarm Rules tab. You'll notice that I already have an alarm rule here, so I'm going to go ahead and just click on that, and we're going to click Edit. This will bring up the Trend Alarm Rule dialog, which is the dialog that we use to configure the actual alarm. So there's a couple things we see here. We see a selector that allows you to select the particular feature that you would like to generate this alarm from. You can also choose if you want it greater than or less than. The next thing that we'll really see is this trend right here. So the nice thing about InsightCM is that as you configure your alarm rule, you'll actually be able to see a trend of data that's selectable, so you can view a specific date and time if you'd like, and it'll display that trend, which is the green data right here. Now you'll also notice right below it is an orange line. This orange line is something we call a baseline, so I can just go ahead and toggle this on and off. And a baseline is essentially an average of that particular data. The baseline is important here because it is also possible to use some statistical-based alarming rules on that baseline in order to generate the alarm levels automatically. And that's what this option is up here. So what we see here is we have this baseline. It looks a little bit off right now, most likely because this alarm rule was generated when, in this case, the motor was running at slightly different operating conditions. But to adjust this, all I need to do is click and highlight a particular portion of the data I'm interested in. I can click New Baseline. You'll notice now that the baseline is an average of the data. We'll zoom out here. And you also probably notice that the alarm levels here change slightly. And so these particular alarm levels were generated based on the mean and standard deviation around the baseline. And you can also customize this if you'd like to create your own specific auto alarm rules. A few other things here. If you want to alarm only at a specific operating state, let's say that you want to alarm only in the on state but not necessarily the off state, that's possible. Or you can also alarm in every operating state. And then finally, your on delay, meaning that the data has to be within the alarm condition for a set amount of time. Off delay, meaning the data has to exit the alarm condition for a set amount of time before the alarm is cleared. And then finally, hysteresis, which is important to help ensure that if you have variable data, you're not generating alarms unexpectedly. So when you go ahead and send this up, the alarm rule is actually saved down to the device. But because I don't want to adjust any alarm rules, I'm going to go ahead and cancel this. Now, the other nice thing about this particular alarm configuration is that let's say that we're setting up a system for the first time, and we don't necessarily have historical data that will allow us to generate that alarm levels appropriately. With InsightCM, it's possible to enable auto alarm configuration without having historical data. If we go ahead and go to the global options, so go to the caret in the upper right-hand corner and go to options, there is an option called Trend Baseline. The Trend Baseline is the amount of data that you would like to collect before the auto alarm rules are evaluated and applied to the particular sensor. So in this case, the option I have is that there must be a minimum of 10 trend points before we evaluate the baseline. And once that baseline has been evaluated, we'll go ahead and automatically calculate any alarm rules that you like. When this alarm rule gets downloaded to the device will begin to monitor that particular level. When the alarm has been generated, the device will capture the data corresponding with that alarm, and it will send it to the server for you to review. If you've also selected the option to receive a notification via email, for instance, the server will also take care of sending that email notification to you when it is received.